is the Louie Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to lockdown coverage, week number 10 in the National Football League. Houston Texans taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Rams outstanding right now. Their first time being home in a month, though. It's been a while. You factor in the bye week and being on the road for such a long time. It was finally good to get some home cooking. Remember, the last time they were home, they lost to the Seattle Seahawks. So it'd been a while for this Rams team since coming home. And this was an opportunity to continue their winning ways. A Texans team without Deshaun Watson, this game looked like it was going to be a big shootout with fireworks left and right. A couple of weeks ago, Watson goes down, and all of a sudden now this looks like an easy W for the Rams. And it didn't always look that way. At halftime, the score was 9-7. But in true Rams fashion, they ramped up the activity both offensively and defensively, scoring 21 unanswered points in the third quarter and really 24 unanswered points overall to run away with this game in the second half, 33-7. Jared Goff was his best of the season, arguably, in this game. Had a career high 355 passing yards, 94 of which came on a strike to Robert Woods, who has been outstanding for this Rams team this season and a revelation for them. Samuel Watkins also chimed in with a touchdown on a screen pass. The defense was swarming, forcing 4 turnovers of Nacho Man Tommy Savage. And so they were swarming all over him. 2 forced fumbles, 2 INTs. Would have been another one if Ogletree didn't get flagged for holding, and his pick was probably the most impressive of all the turnovers forced in this game, and it didn't even count. So this was a Rams defense that just was all over the Texans, an offense that took advantage of opportunities, and a game that got out of hand that was once 9-7 at the halftime break. They talked about how the Rams have one of the biggest point differentials in the league, one of the highest scoring outputs per game, and one of the lowest scoring giving up points per game. So they're on the right side of all the proper stats in this league right now. Probably, if I had to guess, plus 10 or 11 in the turnover margin. They're just flying high right now, and they may not be that high because they turned it over about 5 or 6 times in that Seahawks game. So they're in the plus, especially after a 4 turnover performance in this game caused by the defense, and they didn't turn it over a single time. So I'd venture to say at least 7, plus 7 in the turnover margin. But nonetheless, this Rams team has been outstanding this season, and they're about to be tested. Okay, they've had a lot of cupcake games over the last couple and they did what you're supposed to do. They've done what you're supposed to do to bad football teams, and that's dispose of them, whether it's the Giants or this Texans team. They've been steamrolling teams of late. But now I think they're about to be tested as you start to get into the meat and potatoes of their schedule. They're about to see some real competition coming down the pipeline here in a bit. And so they've been playing outstanding football. They've been building confidence, and they're going to need it because the schedule is about to ratchet up here shortly. If I can pull up their schedule, and wouldn't you know it, when I need it, it wouldn't work. But anyway, this was a dominant. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this game. It was a dominant performance in the second half by the Rams as they were able to dominate the Texans 33-7. I just want to take a look at this schedule for the Rams because they've got the Vikings next week, which is going to be a massive game. 2 7-2 teams leading their divisions. if they could, this would be a flexed game. I mean, this is that big of a game in the NFC. Then after that, you get the Saints, another 7-2 team. That this time you'll be at home. Then you have the Cardinals on the road, which is not going to be easy. And then you have the Eagles at home, an 8-1 team and arguably the best team, followed by the Seahawks on the road. So, and then the Titans on the road. So we're going to find out just how good the Rams are. They're either going to show us that they're the real deal over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, or they're going to show us that the 7-2 start to the season was a mirage and that they're coming, but they're not here yet and they're not ready yet. So we're going to find out a lot about this team over the next 6 weeks because their schedule is about to get real. Okay? No more are the days of the Giants and the Texans and all of these, the Jaguars and all these teams that you've been destroying and annihilating over the last month of the season. It's about to get real now. And you're going to play the upper echelon of the NFC, the best the NFC's got to offer, in the Vikings, the Saints, and the Eagles in the next month. And in between that, you factor in the Cardinals, who are family business and a tough out at home. Yeah, you destroyed them over in London, but this is not London. This is in Arizona. So that's going to be a tough one. And then the Titans, and then another tough game with the Seahawks. So we're going to find out a lot. And that could be for the division. That will be for the division, as a matter of fact. That matchup in Seattle against the Seahawks, that will be for the division, unless you implode by then or they implode by then. But in any event, we're going to find out a lot about the Rams because they've looked damn good this season, especially over this last stretch of football where they've just been hammering teams. We're going to find out how good they are because no more little sisters of the poor. You know, no more Nacho Man, Tommy Savage for you to beat up on. No more poor, helpless, defenseless Eli Manning to beat up on. No more Blake Bortles to beat up on. Now you're going up against legit NFL defenses with offenses and quarterbacks to match. And so I'm anxious to see if this Rams defense is as legit as it looks. But more importantly, is this offense as legit as it looks? Because you're about to come up against some really good, top-notch NFL defenses over the next month and a half. And if your offense is as good as advertised, it won't back down from the challenge of Seattle's defense, Tennessee's defense, Philadelphia's defense, New Orleans' defense, Minnesota's defense. So we're going to find out a lot, and I mean a lot, about this Rams football team as they destroy another team. Jared Goff, best passing day of his career, 355 yards, as he lights up the Houston Texans like a Christmas tree in this game. Robert Woods was a man-possessed 94-yard touchdown grab. He went well over 100 yards, 2 more touchdowns. After not having a touchdown to his name coming into last week's game, scores 2 touchdowns last week, another 2 this week. He's starting to act up. Samuel Watkins with 2 touchdowns in as many weeks. And so they're starting to ramp it up offensively. Defensively, they swarmed after the Texans, forcing 4 turnovers of Nacho Man, Tommy Savage. And so 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. They were outstanding. They run away with this game that was once 9-7 at halftime, 33-7. For the Texans, I don't have anything to say, okay? They're not going to be a good football team. Nacho Man, Tommy Savage isn't going to win you many games because he's Nacho Man. And so we'll see what happens with them. Bill O'Brien will probably get fired because of the way this season is going to unfold. And I'm not sad to see him go. I don't think he's a great head coach. Don't think he's adjusted well to situations that he's been put in. But this is too much for him to overcome. You take away defensive guys. You take away the one thing he's got going offensively. There's nothing to see here. And you don't have a first-round pick to recoup for all the bad football that's to be played for the remainder of this season. So there's a lot that stinks right now in Houston. And this game, to me, is a little bit of a little harsh glimpse into the window of what's to come for the remainder of this season. And to me, it pretty much sums up and is the epitome of what this Texans season is going to be all about, with no first-round pick and a lot of bad football coming your way the remainder of the season. Let's get to anybody that may have a comment for this one. I'll quickly get out of here. Josh Berman says, and this is why I wanted the Ravens to get Robert Woods in free agency. Come on, Ozzy. Yep, they dropped the ball because he's been outstanding for the Rams this season. Dark Fears Fire Gaming says, the Rams best in the West. I still think they're going to lose the division to the Seahawks. And if you're comparing schedules, the Rams have the tougher of the two schedules. The Seahawks already played the Titans. The Seahawks don't have to play they don't have to play the Vikings. Both of you have the Eagles, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, both of you get the Eagles at home. So there's no advantage there. But you got the Vikings. I don't think they have the Saints either on their schedule because they finished in first place. So they have the Panthers, I believe, which I'd take the Panthers over the Saints right now in a heartbeat. Said they were going to win a division at the beginning of the season. I'm sticking to that. They are, and I said they were going to go into Los Angeles and win. They did. And now you got a tough task to have to go to Seattle and win. Something that is not foreign to the Rams. They've done it before. They can do it again, but it's just a tough task. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks for right now. But are they the best in the West record-wise? Absolutely. Of course they are. They're 7-2, and everybody else is either 6-3 or less than that. So, but in my humble opinion, I'm taking the Seahawks still. Even with their injuries, I'm taking the Seahawks. Pepe the YouTuber says, don't even bother with my Texans, man. Trust me, I won't. And Eduardo O'Neal says, next week game against the Vikings will be something else. It will. In all the games, I just ran on. Do you know how tough their schedule is? After the Vikings, they have the Saints. After the Saints, I think they got the Seahawks. After the Seahawks, they have the Eagles. After the Eagles, or maybe the Cardinals where I inserted the Seahawks. After the Seahawks or the Cardinals, there's somebody in the division on the road. Then they have the Eagles at home. Then you turn around after that, and it's either the Cardinals or the Seahawks on the road. I mean, and then it's the Titans or the Titans and then the Seahawks. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. Let me pull it up one more time for you because I didn't realize their schedule got this ridiculous, but it's really going to separate the pretenders from the real. And we're going to find out just how real the Rams are. Saints, home for the Saints, at the Cardinals, home for the Eagles, at the Seahawks, at the Titans. And all of that is preceded by at the Vikings. So at Vikings, home for the Saints, at Cardinals, home for the Eagles, at Seahawks, at Titans, before finishing up home for the 49ers. Come on, man. That's murderer's row if I've ever seen it. So if they come through that stretch of football alive and well, you may be looking at the best team in the NFC, not just the best team in the NFC West. Extreme Archery USA says, how can I donate? You can donate one of two ways. Via Patreon. The link is in the description, but if you need to see the link, here it is right here. And you can donate via Patreon. If you have a Patreon account, just go on to Patreon, follow me on Patreon, and there's plenty of ways you can donate. That's the link right there in front of you. If you don't have a Patreon account, then PayPal is the more rational route for you to take, and it's more direct. It's easier. It's simpler. So that's the PayPal link that you saw in front of you. And again, both of those are in the description. So if you can donate, please, by all means, do so. I appreciate that greatly. Extreme Archery USA. Also, he says, when will you do Redskins lockdown coverage? No Redskins lockdown coverage. I do the Redskins game right after with the R3, and then tomorrow we'll reconvene for the Redskins report live tomorrow at 9 p.m. So that's where you'll find me. But the Redskins don't have a lockdown coverage because I do the R3, Redskins Rapid React, right directly after every Redskins game. So that's basically the substitute for the Redskins lockdown coverage is Redskins Rapid React. Because I know I have so many Redskins fans, more so than any other fan base, I try to take care of them first by giving my initial thoughts right after the game. The only thing I don't do with Redskins fans during the R3 that I normally do with the lockdown coverage is I interact with the viewers via the comment section. I don't do that on the R3 because it's in rapid form, and generally I've got something else to break down, or there's another game that's on that I want to get to. So I just go ahead and just wait till Tuesday to talk about the previous week's game and then the upcoming game. Netsoul's Toy 01 says, as long as Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor are healthy, and maybe now the Seahawks just signed Byron Maxwell, they can hold the secondary down with the star to be Shaq against the Rams. I think you can. I think if those guys are healthy, I think you can hold fort and get what's yours, which is the division crown, for one more year. I don't know if you can hold those youngins off another year after this. They're coming. They may come this year, but I think they're a year away. Cloud says, by the way, the only playoff contender the Eagles play this season is the Rams and Seahawks. The Rams, Saints, and Vikings have to play each other. As long as we handle business, we can get the, I guess, #1 seed is what you're referring to. Dark Fierce Fire Gaming says, the Rams have offense, defense, and special teams. Greatest show on turf 2.0. They faked another punt, but this time they didn't get it. But it's fun to watch. The Soundwave 92 says, it's shocking how Jared Goff has been this year. Although Wentz and Wilson are on fire, Goff is a top 5 quarterback in the NFC, in my opinion. Seahawks still have the NFC West, though. That's how I feel. The Soundwave 92 says, I'm tired of the greatest show on turf. Eduardo O'Neill says, alive and well, do you mean 2-2, 3-1? Coming out of that stretch, so when I say alive and well, they're 7-2 right now. They don't have to dominate that stretch of football. The Vikings on the road, the Saints, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6-game stretch. Alive and well means they come out of that stretch 3-3. Okay? They come out of that stretch, the other side of that. And, you know, it'd be nice if those 3 wins, one of them is over the Vikings or the Saints, one of the two. You don't have to beat both of them. What would be more impressive is to go to Minnesota and win. But okay, fine. It doesn't matter. Saints at home, Vikings on the road. Get one of those. Beat the Cardinals. You have to beat the Cardinals. And the Seahawks. Those would be the 3, preferably. One of the 2 first ones. Or you could take the Eagles and say, to hell with the Vikings or the Saints. I want the Eagles because they're the one looking to get the #1 seed. Whatever the case may be, find a way to go 3-3 in this stretch. Anything greater than 3-3, and they're alive and well. Anything below 3-3, and they didn't make it out of that unscathed, at 3-3, you're alive. Okay? Because 3-3 puts you at 10-5 with a game in week 17 versus the 49ers that you should be able to win to get you to 11-5, which probably will win that division. So you come out of that stretch, and I don't think they're going to come out of that stretch at 3-3. I think they could easily come out of that stretch at 2-4, which would then put you at 9-7 or 9-6 going into the final week of the season at 10-6. So that's a big stretch. We'll see what happens. Josh Berman says, Tyler Higbee is a rising star in the offense. He's a guy that is doing pretty good, and he's young too. I told you that when Sean McVay came, he was going to replicate a lot of the things that he had in Washington, and Tyler Higbee was already there, and then they drafted Gerald Everett, and now they've got a bunch of tight ends that are athletically gifted that can catch the football, make plays, along with these receivers. Jared Goff went from having no one to throw the football to ample weaponry. I mean, think about this. The best receiver on third downs in the league, nope, not Cole Beasley. No, it isn't Julian Edelman or Danny Amendola. Of course, Edelman being out for the season. It isn't Danny Amendola. It isn't Jamison Crowder or one of these shifty, great slot receivers. It's Cooper Kupp, who is the most reliable receiver on third downs in the league. I mean, he's got weapons everywhere. You need a chain mover, Cooper Kupp. You need a big play. You could go to either Robert Woods or Samuel Watkins. You need a big play on a third down to a tight end. You got Gerald Everett or Tyler Higbee. You need to dump it down and see if your back can make something happen. You got possibly the MVP of the league in Todd Gurley, the third. It's ridiculous the amount of weaponry that they have right now at their disposal. But Goff is playing outstanding football like I told you he would under Sean McVay. And so I'm not surprised. What I am surprised is how the Rams are whooping ass and now 7-2 on the season after a 33-7 whitewashing of the Houston Texans to go to 7-2 on the season. But for as impressive as they've been this season, we're really about to find out what the Rams are about. Their mettle is about to be tested because it's easy to win and to look good doing it when you're on top. What happens when you lose 1 or 2 straight? What happens when it gets tough for a young team that hasn't been here before, for a coach that hasn't been in a situation like this before? What happens when shit hits the fan? Are they going to rise to the top like cream, or are they going to sink to the bottom like vinegar in water? We're going to find out. We're going to find out. I'm anxious to see over the next 6 weeks what this Rams football team does, because their season is right in front of them. And this next 6 weeks are going to tell the story of the 2017 Los Angeles Rams. Texans, they stink. They're 3-6. Their season is about to bottom out. And not your man, Tommy Savage, is your quarterback. Need I say more? And why'd you bench Lamar Miller anyway? I don't care. In any event, if it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on Lockdown Coverage. Your man Louie T's got one more game to cover. Giants at Niners. Who knew? 49ers are going to get their first win of the season. And boy, were they excited. It's always fun to see a team win their first game. It's like they just won the Super Bowl. And that's what the 49ers look like on Sunday. So we'll discuss that briefly, and then that'll lead us into Monday Night Football. Panthers, Dolphins. So I'll see you for the final installment of Week 10's Lockdown Coverage coming at you here in a short bit. I'll be back. Stick around.